Welcome back to Tales of the Dark Dossier. Tonight, we journey back to the damp, misty farmlands of the late 1800s, to a place whispered about only in hushed, fearful tones. It's the story of Old Man Donald's farm, a sprawling patch of land that held a secret far more sinister than any bad harvest. They say Old Man Donald wasn't the first owner, nor the last, but his name stuck to the property like a stubborn curse. The farm was alive, not with the joyful sounds of livestock or the rustle of corn, but with something ancient and malevolent. A presence that watched from the shadows of the dilapidated barn, from the murky depths of the well, and from the empty, staring windows of the farmhouse. Locals spoke of a spirit, a crazed and hungry entity that had latched onto the land. It wasn't interested in souls or unfinished business. No, its hunger was far more specific, more grotesque. It craved eyes, the vibrant, living windows to the world. It didn't discriminate. The bright, innocent eyes of a child who wandered too close to the property line were just as tempting as the tired, world-weary eyes of a traveling farmhand looking for a night's rest. The story goes that it started subtly. Livestock would be found in the mornings, not mauled, but standing silently in their pens, their eye sockets empty and bloodless. Farmers would dismiss it as a strange disease, a blight. But then, it moved to people. A young boy named Thomas, chasing a runaway kite, was the first. He was found near the old oak tree at the edge of Donald's property, sitting upright, his face turned towards the sky as if watching the clouds. But his gaze was vacant, his eyes gone. Panic began to coil around the nearby town like a serpent. People started locking their doors not just at night, but during the day. They warned their children not to play near the fields bordering the Donald farm. But curiosity, especially a child's curiosity, is a powerful thing. Another child, a little girl named Elspeth, vanished while picking wildflowers. They found her days later in the cornfield, her basket of flowers still clutched in her hand. Like Thomas, she was unharmed, except for the two dark, hollow pits where her bright blue eyes had been. The entity grew bolder. It was no longer content to wait for victims to wander onto its territory. It began to reach out. People would report seeing a fleeting, shadowy figure at the edge of their vision, hearing whispers on the wind that seemed to promise beautiful sights if they would just look, just follow it into the darkness. A traveler, seeking shelter from a storm in the old barn, was discovered in the hayloft, his face a mask of permanent, sightless terror. The fear was palpable. The townspeople couldn't fight what they couldn't see. They couldn't reason with a hunger that was so primal, so horrifying. Old Man Donald himself was said to have gone mad, found one morning rocking back and forth on his porch, clawing at his own face, screaming about the watcher in the walls who wanted his peepers. He was taken away, and the farm was left to rot, a permanent monument to the thing that dwelled there. To this day, the land remains barren. No one dares to build on it, to plow its fields. They say if you drive past on a moonless night, you might feel an inexplicable urge to stop, to get out and look. You might feel a strange pressure behind your own eyes, a cold whisper in your ear. They say the spirit of the farm is still there, still watching, still waiting. And it's still so very, very hungry. Thank you for joining us in the shadows. If this tale chilled you to the bone, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Tales of the Dark Dossier for more unsettling stories from the archives. Until next time, be careful what you look for in the dark. You never know what might be looking back.